Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the biggest problem with charcoal. Personally, I love using charcoal. It is one of my favourite mediums to work in. But I do think there is one problem that prevents a lot of beginners from trying this medium, and it puts a lot of people off. So I want to talk about that problem in today's video and give you guys some tips on how you can fix it and avoid having this issue so that you can really enjoy using charcoal. And I'm also going to be talking through some reasons why you should be considering using charcoal as well, and why it makes for a great medium for realistic drawings and any style really. So let's get straight into the video. So you're probably thinking, well, what is this really big problem then, Kirsty? And so the problem I'm talking about is how messy charcoal can be. I definitely think this is the number one reason that puts people off using charcoal and makes it this scary medium. I'm going to be talking about how I keep my charcoal drawings clean, and you can see that I am drawing a young girl in charcoal at the moment, and this is the drawing that I'm going to be working through and talking about throughout this video. So firstly, let's go through some reasons why charcoal is a wonderful medium to work in. Firstly, I love that it gets a really matte finish. You don't have any shine with charcoal like you do with graphite, and that is one big reason why I don't use graphite. I feel like the shine really detracts from the final result, especially if you are drawing in a realistic style. Whereas charcoal is great because you can get really rich, dark values, and the charcoal pencils are completely matte, so you don't have to worry about any shine. Also, you can get a great range of values with charcoal. You can get really dark values that I also find it hard to get with graphite. I just feel that charcoal can get even darker. Also, I feel like charcoal is such a flexible medium. There are many different techniques that work really well with charcoal, as I'll be talking through in this video, which really help to give that realistic look. And I definitely think another reason people are scared to use charcoal is because they don't feel like it's got a lot of flexibility and that it's difficult to get lighter values. Whereas it can actually be really easy to get lighter values with this medium if you use a few certain techniques. So I definitely think charcoal is something that you should give a go, and I hope once I talk through my techniques that I like to use and also some ways for you to avoid any messiness, I hope that helps to give you the push to want to give this medium a go. So let's go through some common reasons why charcoal is messy. So the first cause for messy drawings is using your fingers to blend your charcoal pencils. So when you blend with your fingers, obviously you're getting all of that charcoal onto your hands, and then you could smudge it in other areas, and it's just very hard to keep your paper clean if your hands and your fingers are covered in charcoal. So I know a lot of people use their fingers to blend charcoal. I personally don't like to use my fingers, not only because it makes for a very messy drawing experience, but also because if you have any grease on your fingers, then this can transfer to the paper and get those oils on the paper, which can help prevent you from getting smooth, nice shading, and it can be very blotchy looking. So a great way to combat that blotchy effect of blending with your fingers, and also meaning that you don't have any messy drawings by not having charcoal on your fingers, is by using other blending tools. So this is a great way to avoid having messy drawings, is to use tools. And I like to use paintbrushes to blend. As you can see, I use paintbrushes to blend the shading on her face. And once I do my first layer of charcoal, I blend it out using a paintbrush. And a paintbrush is really good because you are not getting hands-on with the charcoal, so it avoids any messiness, and the paintbrush is really great at controlling where that charcoal is going, which also helps to prevent it from getting messy. Another tool you can use is tissue, and this is great because you are kind of blending with your fingers, but you've got tissue wrapped over them. So that means that your fingers aren't getting messy or dirty, and also you still have that control and that blending experience that you may be familiar with if you are used to using your fingers to blend. And tissue is also great because it gets the charcoal really smooth, the shading really smooth, it gets rid of any graininess, and it works better than using your fingers anyway. Also, the final tool that you can use, well, there's probably many others, but the other one that I like to use is a blending stump. And a blending stump is great for blending out these small little detailed areas, for example, around the eyes. So using these three things, the paintbrush, the tissue, and the blending stump, instead of using your fingers, really helps to get rid of that messiness, because of the fact that you aren't getting hands-on with the drawing. So that is my first way to prevent having messy drawings, is to use other blending supplies rather than your hands. Okay, so the second reason why your drawings may be getting messy, and this is probably the most common one for me, is if you're resting your hand accidentally on your paper and on areas that you've already added charcoal to. So if you are accidentally resting your hand on your paper, what I recommend doing is try to draw with your hand a little bit off of the paper so that it's not resting directly on your charcoal drawing, or use a little bit of paper in between your hand and your drawing paper to help prevent you from smudging any of your charcoal. So you can use a sheet of tracing paper, or I use the clear sheets that you get in between your pastel matte paper. But any sort of clear sheet, something like baking paper as well, I like to use something that's a little bit clear so you can see the drawing underneath, but you could also use ordinary paper if you wanted. And that will just act as a barrier between your hand and the drawing paper to prevent you from smudging the charcoal, and also from getting the charcoal on the palms of your hand and on your fingers and on the side of your hand as well. Now, before we move on to the next reason why your drawings may be messy, if you want to see how I created this drawing in real time and follow along with me, then the real time tutorial for this is available over on my Patreon, as well as over 300 other tutorials for lots of different mediums that you can get access to for a small amount per month. For each tutorial, you'll get the reference image, a sketch outline, and the materials list. But if a monthly membership isn't right for you, or you just want to focus on drawing with charcoal, then over on my website, I've got lots of courses to help you improve your charcoal drawing skills. I have got 3 individual courses, one on portraits, one for drawing animals, and one for drawing still life objects. Or if you really want to master all of those subject matters, then I have got a charcoal bundle which includes all of those 3 courses. And once again, all of my courses include hours of real-time tutorials. All of the tutorials are in real time. And again, you get all of the resources you need to follow along with me for just a one-off payment. If you are interested in my courses, you can use the code SAVE15 at checkout, and this will give you 15% off all of my courses. So I'll leave a link to my Patreon and my course website in the description so that you can check them out. Now let's move on to the third reason why your drawings may be getting messy, and that may be because of the certain order that you are working on your drawing in. So how you apply your shading. What I recommend to really prevent any smudging or laying your hand on any areas of charcoal that you've already worked on is by working from the top of the drawing to the bottom. So start at the top and do all of the shading at the top of your drawing, and then slowly move down. That way your hand isn't resting on areas that are already done. Also, because I'm right-handed, I like to work from the left to the right, because if I was to work on the right hand side of the drawing first and then move my way to the left hand side, my right hand would constantly be lying on an area of the drawing that has already got charcoal down on it. So if you're right-handed, I recommend working from the left to the right, and if you are left-handed, work from the right to the left, because we are just trying to prevent our hands from coming into contact with charcoal as much as possible. So if you are resting your hand on the paper, it may be good for you to plan how you want to do your drawing, which order you want to do parts in. So work from the top to the bottom and from the left to the right if you are right-handed. So I would start in the top left-hand corner and then gradually work my way down to the bottom right-hand corner. And this would really just help prevent me from touching my hand on any areas that are already shaded in. So there may be times when your hands do get accidentally dirty or your workstation does get dirty, especially if there's bits of charcoal dust that you are blowing off your drawing. It can make your workstation dirty. So to help keep everything as clean as possible, I recommend having a pack of wet wipes just to the side of you, because these wet wipes are really great at removing charcoal from your hands and your fingers. Normal tissue won't really get rid of it that well, but if you just get a wet wipe and clean over your workstation and clean your hands, then it will really quickly go. It really easily removes it, and then you can carry on working. So if you do notice any charcoal on your hand or your fingers, don't worry, just use a wet wipe to get rid of it, or go and wash your hands, whatever. But it's important to make sure that you're checking and keeping your station clean throughout the drawing process, so that it doesn't get frustrating and so that you don't accidentally smudge a piece of your drawing that you didn't want to. But those are some tips on how you can prevent your drawings from getting messy. I mostly like to work in a certain order and use blending tools as much as possible. I really like using brushes to get a realistic effect in my drawings as well. They are really, really helpful. But thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what other videos you would like to see for charcoal drawings, because I've got lots of footage for it and I'd love some ideas from you guys. But thank you for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new around here, and even tick that bell icon so you do get notified on my future videos. But that is it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye everybody.